Welcome to That's So Clutch, an automotive podcast that bridges the gap between car industry experts and those who are not. Hey everyone, I'm Malini Ferreira, your host of That's So Clutch. Welcome back to our third episode. Today I've got Chris Hernandez, sales consultant from Mercedes-Benz of Austin, with us today. How are you doing, Chris?
Feeling great, doing
good. Are you
good.
excited to do this?
Super excited. It's going to be
All right,
fun.
so I just want to go over your accomplishments because to me it sounds like a Broadway musical. You started off pushing brooms at Continental Collision in 2011 as a full-time student. Then 2013, you graduated from St. Ed's, and you went on to become a sales consultant at Mercedes-Benz of Austin with no sales experience.
Right.
Crazy. And then fast forward, because you love high-performance vehicles so much, they've given you the opportunity to go to Germany and become an AMG Ambassador.
You got it. Yeah, that's
Wild.
It's kind of a weird story, right, when you start to think about it?
Literally from pushing brooms to becoming, all things about AMG.
Right, yeah. And for one of the best brands in the world, too, at that, So it's one of those things where, I mean, in order to step foot really into a Mercedes-Benz showroom, you have to have sales experience. There's a progression that happens in the business. So
big status there, yeah.
Yeah, to be given the opportunity, it's been fantastic. I've enjoyed every moment of it.
So with AMG, what is an AMG ambassador?
So it's a job role really within Mercedes-Benz USA. Our store is one of 150 AMG performance centers in the United States.
Okay.
And part of that, we're supposed to have individuals that are enthusiastic about the brand, that are meant to be able to speak competently to our AMG customers. The fact is, Mercedes is a huge company. Mercedes-Benz, a gigantic company now.
Oh, for sure.
And there's three arms within Mercedes-Benz corporate. You have Mercedes-Benz, they're responsible for like our C-classes, E-classes, S-classes. Then you have Mercedes-AMG, they're our luxury performance division. Then you have Mercedes-Maybach. We don't have any Maybach ambassadors yet. It's kind of a low production vehicle for us, but Mercedes wants people that are, again, enthusiastic about high performance cars that can share that enthusiasm with people that are looking to get into the brand or continue the relationship with the brand.
So AMG is, like you said, high performance vehicles. But what exactly is AMG? What does it stand for?
Yeah,
because you just say here AMG and you're like, what?
It's a bunch of letters. And Mercedes is alphabet soup to begin with, so it's just more letters and numbers, right? So AMG stands for Alfred, Melcher, and Groschesbach. Groschesbach is the town that Alfred was born in.
Okay.
Essentially, so two guys and a city, essentially, and these were racing guys. They built high performance engines back in the day, and raced this car that shouldn't have been raced. It was a big S-Class. They called it the Red Sow. They took this engine apart, took all the seats out. They showed up on a racetrack once upon a time, 1967, entered in against Ferraris and Porsches. They were laughed at up and down the paddock.
For
and
sure.
They went and won the race, with a car that should not have won. And that started the history, the desire of AMG within customers. So they started tuning cars once upon a time shortly after that. And in the 90s, Mercedes-Benz bought AMG out or started the process of buying them out and incorporating them into the brand. So started as a tuner company. They built engines, racing engines, then slowly transitioned into the customer-facing side. We're just people that wanted more power in their luxury car, take the car to AMG.
Want a need for speed.
That's it. Yeah, need for speed. Get something crazy, ridiculous, 600 horsepower, whatever.
Yeah.
They would just do insane things with their cars.
So if AMG is... It's mostly the engine, right, that makes it so fast?
It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So nowadays, the modern AMG is designed at the same time as a Mercedes-Benz. So we build the cars with the intention of having AMG counterparts.
Okay.
So they build the floors to be really, really stiff, rigid. You don't want body, twisting when you're going around a racetrack at a high rate of speed. You want everything to be really rigid. They upgrade suspensions, transmissions, braking systems, of course the engine. And then nowadays there's so much technology in cars, we have dedicated screens and infotainment that shows you what the car is doing when you're using it on a racetrack. So the idea is just to essentially take your core basic Mercedes-Benz, right?
Yeah.
But take the Mercedes-Benz.
How can it ever be basic?
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like you're talking super luxury car.
Yeah.
And turn it into a high-performance vehicle without sacrificing the luxury that our customers want.
Yeah.
But if AMG had their way, I mean, they would strip everything out of the car, make it super lightweight, loud, noisy, hot environment. Mercedes kind of wrangles them back in and make sure the car's got massaging seats and navigation and air conditioning.
Ambient lighting.
Yeah, the ambient lighting, fun little displays.
Yeah.
But they're very much like a racing team. And right now the mindset is luxury performance. So they're designing these cars to just be as luxurious yet performance-based within their segment.
So do they have AMG electric vehicles?
We do. We currently have 2 available for sale in the United States right now. With another one coming. So we make an EQE AMG and an EQS AMG.
So how does that work if it's an electric vehicle?
It's a good question. So they, right, because there's no motor. You're not tuning a motor. So they do use proprietary motors that have higher horsepower torque figures.
Okay.
The battery pack stays the same, but they beef up the suspension to make it a little more a stiffer suspension. They play with the steering to make it a little more responsive. Mercedes customers don't want to feel the road. AMG customers do. And then we also beef up the braking system. So you'll see like red brake calipers and that type of stuff that designates it as an AMG. And then we also have AMG specific grills from a design element on the outside so customers know that they're looking at the electric version of an AMG car.
As an AMG ambassador, what do you have to do? What kind of specifications do you have to do? Do you have to go through a test?
Yes. To say that you're an AMG ambassador for a store in, let's say, Austin, Texas, right? We've got Formula One in the background.
Yeah.
In our backyard here. You have to essentially know what you're kind of talking about.
For
and you can't know everything, but you have to have at least some core knowledge base. So you have to know horsepower figures, torque figures, why this model is a 45 and not a 63, or there's a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But it's just basically retaining as much information about the sports car division as possible and being able to translate that to a customer. So there is some testing involved. There's some brand immersion. So they flew me out to Falterbach, Germany in 2015. So I got to tour AMG. See where they're building these engines on the showroom floor.
That was cool.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like walking into it's like getting your golden ticket and go into like
the chocolate factory.
The chocolate factory. It's exactly like you're just looking for the Oompa Loompas. Where are they? You know, they're not there. But you're seeing stuff that nobody ever really gets to see. And there's a lot of trade secrets involved, like you can't take video or pictures or any of that stuff.
I was going to ask if you got any photos of that.
None. They make you put your phone in like a little packet and they keep it on the bus.
It's like a magic show.
Pretty much,
when they're like, you can't use your phones or you're kicked out.
That's it. They're very secretive about it because there's just trade info.
Should be, honestly.
It should be. But AMG has got a big online presence now, so they're opening up a lot of stuff. But there is some continued education training. We do events here in Austin as well for our AMG customers. So it's just being a forward-facing figure for AMG within our market.
Have you gotten to do any like cool launches, or do you get any cool perks as being an AMG ambassador?
Yeah, so we did the AMG GT 4-door launch here in Austin years ago now. So AMG normally will rent out a racetrack, when they do these things and bring
like at COTA?
Yeah, we did it at Circuit of the Americas here. So they rent out this whole track. They bring journalists in from all over the world, let them drive them on the tracks. You do these excursions outside in the city limits just to see what the cars are like. So I was asked at that time to kind of help bring in some volatile fluids that they couldn't bring in on a plane with these cars. So we actually had the GT 4-door in Austin. We're able to see it, touch it before that event even occurred, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then we go out there and burn up the tires and brakes at the racetrack. So it's a great experience.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's like you've got to either be a journalist or know somebody.
Yeah.
And to kind of be involved.
It's very like, clubby.
Super. Yeah, super. And this is not like a C-Class or anything like that. It's a GT 63S. It's really fast, and at the time, one of the fastest production cars that we made, 3.2, 0 to 60. So to be involved in that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I get to drive one.
Did you get to drive one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got to drive them around the track.
You were behind the steering wheel driving one?
Yeah. They had a little
my gosh.
section of COTA, so you're burning up and down, Circuit of the Americas.
And it's like everyone just went in, got out, went in, got out?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's an
Wow.
all-day event. So when you do these AMG events, which is like the driving academy, if anybody's ever done that. We've got customer-facing sides where you buy an AMG, you get to go to these driving academy events at racetracks in Austin. We got to do something similar with the GT4 when it came out.
I kind of want your job. That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. There's some perks. There
Although
are
I
some
like
perks.
mine.
Yeah, no, you've got a pretty cool job too, right?
Yeah. So what does the future of Mercedes-Benz look like as far as gas versus electric vehicles?
So it is going to be electric. They've already come out and said that any new model introduced in the market wearing the Mercedes-Benz star is going to be built with an electric counterpart. They're still
Like
going to
hybrids?
some hybrids. I know we're bringing out some hybrids right now
Okay.
with battery packs. But the idea is any model that they launch, it's going to be an electric, and it may have a gas counterpart. In the
Okay.
United States, the desire is still gasoline.
Yeah.
We're feeling that right now, but they are going to be fully electric by 2030 in markets where that they're capable of doing that. They're investing like some 40 billion euros between
Oh my gosh.
40 billion. That's a lot. That's a big number,
Yeah.
right? 40 billion euros between 2022 to 2030 to hit that target of being fully electric by 2030.
So why are they pushing to be more electric?
Mercedes has always been big on sustainability. That is their new focus. So they're going to be looking at using recycled materials in their vehicles. And what's funny is if you look at cars in Europe, they always have CO2 emissions, listed in the disclaimers. So they're very much environmentally aware, and they see the electric vehicle as being the ability to still offer their super premium luxury cars to customers that are looking for something different, but they also want to be responsible at the same time. And right now, the electric vehicle is the direction they're heading.
So does that mean there's not a lot of production on gas vehicles coming to your store?
It's 50-50 now.
Okay.
So when we look at our inventory, 50% of our vehicles are geared towards electrics.
Okay. And is that new?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, not the electric, sorry, the gas vehicles. Are those all new or are those used?
So these are all new,
Okay.
new vehicles. So at the production line, we've got dedicated factories where we build cars. There's one here in the United States, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That factory is responsible for building the global supply of GLS SUV. It's also where we build the SUV counterparts in the electric car. So EQE SUV, EQS.
Okay.
SUV. So these are all built here domestically, but they've essentially cut that line to be able to produce 50% gas, 50% electric.
Yeah. So I feel like Mercedes customers have a lot more of a deeper pocket than most people do. But I feel like a lot of people, everyone is being affected by, market changes. So have you seen more people paying in cash for their
Right
vehicles?
now, yeah, we have a lot of customers that would prefer to write that check, versus paying.
Why is that?
Interest rates are high right now, realistic with them.
So if you pay with cash, how does that affect with interest rates?
Well, so if you think of it, right, like there's always a cost to borrow money. And when those interest rates are higher, the overall amount of money you're going to pay in a 60-month or 72-month loan is going to be greater than 3 years ago where it was like 2.99% or 1.99%. So a lot of our customers are very financially savvy. They say, okay, my money's making more in my bank account, so I'll do the financing aspect, or I can just write the check and it's going to save me money versus paying that higher interest rate over the course of a loan.
Okay.
So there's a cost analysis that they do, and
Yeah.
we just have a lot of people that want to write a check.
I guess that would be the better route if you got it like that, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right. Power to them. They can't.
Yeah,
they
right.
keep the lights on. So.
So trailing back, you said that they really want to implement AMG more into the company. So AMG is almost like a racing brand at this point.
You got it.
Are you seeing F1 have more influence on the making of everyday Mercedes-Benz vehicles?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We recently launched the new C-Class, which has an electrified turbocharger, which is really, really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with engines nowadays, everything's turbocharged for fuel efficiency and overall reduction, I guess you want to call it, in CO2, right? Production. So if you have a smaller engine with a turbocharger attached to it, you can get more horsepower out of the engine and also reduce the fuel economy at the same time. So overall, you're burning, or increase the fuel economy, not reduce. You're burning less fuel. So we're seeing smaller engines that are getting way more horsepower than like V6s back in the day.
Yeah.
But are getting great fuel economy. And then the best way to do it, the biggest thing that's an issue with a modern day turbo is there's lag, because you use exhaust gas to spin up a little turbine, and that exhaust gas then increases pressure. So when you can put more air in the engine to get more bang with your fuel. But there's a delay, because that exhaust has to get out of the engine, go back through the turbo to then push more air into the engine. So that's turbo lag.
Yeah.
Formula One a couple years ago came up with this new V6 power plant that uses these turbos in the spirit of being more eco-conscious, you know. And Mercedes-Benz came up with a concept to electrify aspects of the turbocharger, which gave them a huge advantage.
Yeah.
You know, 8 years in a row they were global constructor champions, world champions with these engines.
8 years in a row.
8 years in a row. They had created this dynasty that hasn't been seen.
Yeah.
So that technology, billions of dollars of investment, right, to just run a car around a racetrack for fun.
Yeah.
But there are real world things that we can extract out of it, and this turbocharger has been extracted out of it. We're now seeing it in production cars. So it's in the C class. There's virtually no turbo lag on that engine. It's very efficient, very powerful. It's a big old turbocharger. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
We're putting it in the GLC, and it's also starting to make its way into our AMG product.
Do you think that's going to go into all Mercedes-Benz vehicles?
Yes, I would imagine so. This new engine is kind of going to be the workhorse for most of the brand. So that engine, that electrified turbocharger, will make it in just about every car that we make, or some form or fashion of it will be in the car.
So how is that going to affect customers? Because I know getting the AMG edition is a little bit more expensive.
Yeah,
and you know, maybe a mom of 5 or a mom of 3, however many. She's just going to the grocery store, like picking the kids up from practice. How is that going to, I guess, benefit her or anyone?
Well, it's a good question. So anytime that, and I'm cheap, I'll be the first to admit it, I'm cheap. So anytime that I can save money on fuel, because that's, you know, gasoline is what we use to get from A to B right now, right? So if you can save that fuel cost, that's how it's going to affect the mom of 5 getting to the grocery store. They're not going to have to fill up the cars as much. Okay. So you do get that added, again, fuel economy bump by making the engine more efficient.
It's going to be funny seeing that mom of 5, you know, speeding down the highway.
Yeah, right. She's got an F1 engine under the hood of her car.
Yeah, right.
Know? And she may not even know.
Maybe that's cool, though.
Yeah,
I guess she can be like a little party trick. Yeah, you know what I got in the driveway?
That's right.
An F1 vehicle.
That's right.
So Mercedes-Benz is a well-known luxury brand all over the world. But with the big changes happening not only in the automotive industry, but the economy, what is the perception of Mercedes-Benz in the vastly competitive automotive field?
So it's funny because, you know, doing this for 10 years now, I was the kid on the outside of the glass looking in, and we still have that. You know, Mercedes-Benz is a desirable product.
Yeah.
And
it's my dream car.
Right. No, it's right. You ask a lot of people.
I don't know which one, but I know for sure the brand. It's one of my dream cars.
Right. You want it to have the 3-point star.
Yeah.
So years past, Mercedes was all about trying to make all of these cars attainable for everybody from all walks of life. And that's something that they've done really, really well. So we have customers that want to come in. I mean, let's be real. You can go buy a Toyota Camry for $30-something thousand now, or you can buy a Mercedes, you know, for a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think what's happening is there's a big focus on making the cars still attainable, but more eco-conscious. And because of that, we're seeing a little bit of pullback on certain models. But their goal is to be a brand that's not going anywhere. They've been around for forever. And they're trying to stay relevant. And right now, to stay relevant is the focus on electric cars.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think that people will always come to us as the holy grail type car.
It's an empire.
It is. It's a dynasty again. the customers that we see, the guests that come into our store, a lot of times they know what they want. They've done all the research. They know how they want their car built.
Yeah.
And it's that perception. People have done hours and hours of research, watched YouTube videos. They just know a lot about the car. So I don't know if I answered the question. I kind of got lost in my head
little
there.
bit. But yeah, I got what you're saying. It's people still love the brand no matter what, and it's more of like a commitment to the brand and not so much a car.
Right. Yeah, right. You can go get something with 4 wheels and a steering wheel anywhere, but you can't really go get...
You usually can't get a car that massages your back and listens to what you want. You can, with the electric car, that one, what is it, the 450?
The EQS?
Yeah, that one, you can have a whole freaking IMAX home theater sound surrounding you. It's insane what they have done.
With a crazy ambient light system inside the car, too.
Yeah.
So, they are differentiating themselves. They're putting a lot of tech in the cars nowadays.
Yeah.
They're rolling computers. They're not like, gasoline engine and brakes and transmission. They're every bit computer nowadays. So they're doing a lot to kind of put them into a different stratosphere, if you will, from the average car that people can just walk in and buy elsewhere.
Well, lastly, it's not very automotive related, but it can be if you want to.
Okay.
My last question for you is, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
If I could tell my younger self one thing, don't give up. Right?
Okay.
That's, who would have thought I was supposed to be a doctor at one point, going to med school and all that fun stuff. But always
now you're a doctor of cars.
Yeah, right now, I wouldn't say that. I don't fix the things, but I get to play with the cars.
But you can diagnose them.
That's right. And I get to play with the cars that doctors get to buy without having to write the check or make the payment.
Exactly.
But I would say don't give up. Focus on your dreams and your goals. And that's one thing that this business has taught me really, really well. Things that happen in life don't happen in one moment to the next. There's a series of events that occur, and it's all about linking those events together, and you end up here, right? You start here, you end up here. I never thought I would meet my wife, at a Mercedes, in the business, and met her in the business. I never thought at my age I would own a home, did that through the business. So it's just don't give up. Have some tenacity. Know what you want, and then fight for it. And eventually, it eventually comes through if you put all the pieces together.
I love that. That was the best way to end it. Thank you so much for joining. This was so fun, and I learned a lot.
Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully I can come back and we can do something else.
Yeah, let's do a part 2 for sure.
Part 2.
Thank you so much for joining this episode of That's So Clutch. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions about the automotive industry that you'd like answered, leave them down below, and we'll see if we can feature it in the next video.